Y'all, welcome back to What I Know So Far podcast. Are y'all ready and as excited as we are for part 2 of our Leanne Morgan interview? Little Kay and I are on the road, both of us right now, and we want you to know that this is probably one of our favorite interviews we've done to date, not only because Leanne's our dear friend, but just because it was just so good to sit down and celebrate someone we love so much and we have laughed with. And there's so much more. So we wanted y'all to buckle up for part 2 and enjoy what is honestly one of my favorite conversations I've ever had. And I know Karen feels the same way. So without further ado, here's part 2 of What I Know So Far with Leanne Morgan. You gotta be just who you are. You gotta be just who you are. Don't let them sway you. No one can change you.
That video was perfect to go out first because men liked it too. Mm-hmm. And everybody just related to it. Everybody goes to a concert, fog hat, AC/DC, everybody's, looks, old and sick and everybody knows what that feels like. And so then people started looking at other videos, like what else does she have?
Yep.
And so then the numbers started going up on everything. And the dry bar even more. And then, we started getting calls for clubs. People were calling clubs and saying, can you get Leanne Morgan? These women, I'm sure, were calling. And then I started getting booked. Couldn't get an agent. Nobody. My manager at the time was begging people to take me. Nobody wanted me. And then he talked somebody into taking me. And then I was doing casinos and everything. And then that's when I got my first tour with Outback Concerts, and it was 50 dates first, and then they sold out almost immediately. So they said, we're going to add another 50. And then they put those on sale. And then that was the big panty tour, and then COVID hit. And I sat and wrung my hands and thought, this is happening, and then it's over. I called Karen every day and said it's over and put that burden on her. And then I think the best thing out of that whole horror was I just get on my back porch with no makeup on and talk about what I was cooking. And I was taking care of my mom and daddy, and a lot of people are taking care of elderly parents, and that resonated with people. And then it kept going, and it's just crazy. I mean, crazy. Every day, my book's coming out in September, and I named it What in the World, because every day I go, what in the world? I do, don't I, Karen? I call you and go,
Yes, you
what
do.
in the world? More things happen every day. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. And I think, honest to goodness, I mean, I do think I have some talent. I don't want to sound like this just happened, but I also think that it's just God's timing, because I think after COVID, I think people really are attracted to authenticity. Everybody's been through hell, and everybody all before that were influencers, and everybody was on Instagram and had, talking about little britches and all that. And then I was sitting there talking about who's going to make a chicken casserole, and I like a good cream of chicken soup from Campbell. And I think that I just hit the right time when people felt comfort in me and what I was talking about, and they could relate to me. And there was nobody else talking to those people. There's nobody else talking to these darling people in the middle of the United States. Hollywood had ignored them. I think that, what I know, but I think that's what's happened. It was just all came together at the same time.
I agree. Yeah, we've always said that this is an underserved demographic. We've said it for years.
100%. Because everybody thinks all the prejudice exists for a reason, right? A prejudgment. Everybody thinks if you talk different, you're slow, you're not smart, and it's, they don't get it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's what we love. That's what we love about the South. They're smart like a fox, honey.
Well, and I don't even think just the South. I think just
country
women
people
in general who are normal, everyday people that are buying everything for their family. I mean, it's really stupid.
Yeah.
But people don't see my demographic, I think, is the best demographic. And I just had a meeting with all my agents at UTA in LA, and I saw them, their eyes lit up when I said, think about, I've bought every product for a family. I've driven every kind of car. I'm sitting here, I've used every beauty product. I've tried to find pants that fit me, every shoe. And they were going, because it's my demographic that are still out wanting to go to a theater, can pay for Netflix, can pay for
That's
to
right.
go somewhere to have
To
expendable
go to a
income.
theater show.
Yeah. Well, I have to deal with it all the time with Camping World that I'm lucky enough to work with, and they finally put a woman, me, on their social media because I said, "Y'all, who do you think goes half on that note when they're buying an RV? A woman. No man's cleaning that. A woman's cleaning that. So make sure you get somebody showing the cool parts of an RV that aren't just like, here's the tow weight, here's the dry weight, here's where the stinky slinky goes. You have to say, here's you're the woman is who is the one driving that purchase. No man is going in
She's
going,
going to be
hey, I
using that
brought
kitchen in the campground. She's going to be using the kitchen in the campground. Does it have storage? Put my mixing bowls in there because I've had
thank
a
you.
camper. And I went and looked at Charlie Morgan for those babies, and we looked at where these babies can sleep,
That's
where
right.
their mom and daddy can sleep. Can the grandmama go?
Does it have a
Can the
pull out
grandpa
bed? Can the
go?
grandpa go? Does it have a 2 bedroom, a 2 bath? And those are the things that matter. And when they finally changed to, not that the men can't sell it to, but when they changed to me, everything changed for them. And they went, oh, and I was like, come on, y'all. There's a whole world out there of women that love RVing that just you need to speak to them. That's all.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it makes sense. And I think that's why Netflix has signed on for a future with me. And it's so dumbfounding, but
Two
sweet.
more. Leanne, two more. Talk to me about when that phone call came in.
I was sitting in a hotel room with Tess, and I make her. Usually, we share the same hotel room because I have Chuck Morgan in my head going, "Do not go out to Panera for breakfast. Eat the Continental." And so I do not get two hotel rooms, and most of the time Tess and I are either spooning in a king, or we've got two queens. But we were in two queens, and they Netflix. My lawyers called and said they want to do a two special deal, and this is a big deal in. There's not many people who have this and all that. And Tess said, finally we can get Apple CarPlay. And all those attorneys got so tickled, my agents, and they were, because Chuck Morgan, everybody's driving old cars that do not have, none of us have Apple CarPlay. And the attorneys go, I think y'all could
You
maybe
can,
get Apple CarPlay now.
which is
But
that means y'all, just to tell everybody at home, that means they're not driving a vehicle newer than 2016. If that tells you what a
right,
tight ship Chuck Morgan runs.
tight ship.
Tight ship. Chuck Morgan runs a tight ship. There are many a time I've gone to do something foolish with my dollars on the road, and does my mom pop in my head? Does my dad? No. Chuck Morgan pops in my head going, Trish, do you really think you need that? I'm like, son of a monkey's butt, there's Chuck.
I know. We can put anybody on a budget and save their life. I'm not kidding. And
He has.
all fussed over him for years, but if this hadn't happened for me, I mean, he's got retirement. I would have pissed the money away at TJ Maxx. I'm constantly saying, Karen, I think there's a TJ Maxx. You and I, we all three went to a TJ Maxx and bought crap.
Every
We
time,
love
y'all.
TJ Maxx, but we didn't need that.
The three of us on the road, if there was an outlet mall, you'd think it was on fire because the three of us would get immediately to an outlet mall. What are they called? Tanger outlet malls. We would be
Yes.
beside ourselves because Lil K has to get to the Adidas. And then Leanne and I we'd go into a swoop, but we'd have to go into everything. A Bally, see if the bras were, it was hilarious because
And you
we
always
love.
bought an extra suitcase to get home.
I did buy an extra suitcase.
I buy an extra suitcase to get home. It's terrible. I mean, you will not believe how many suitcases we had. We're all, because I'll go to a Gap in Salt Lake City and they've got Spidey. Charles Wilbur's in the Spider-Man, and I get and dinosaurs, and before you know it, I'm like, Tess, we got to get another suitcase, and
That's good
so
grandmomming, though.
it is, but I think I'm also feeling a hole because it's lonely out here, and I think I just miss my family, and I think, oh, well, I'll buy them something, and then Chuck's like,
Oh,
get a hold of yourself, Leanne, which he's right, and Tess and I got here to Grand Rapids the night before Karen got here, and she wanted to go to Chick-fil-A because she could fit in her macros for some grilled chicken. nuggets, and I said, "This exit looks like there might be a Marshalls or a TJ Maxx." And she goes, "We don't need that." But I just like to be able to be normal and walk around and
I
go
know, it
look
is
at
kind of fun.
stuff.
You wanna find the prize too. I remember once, I still own it. It's this ridiculous Michael Kors watch that Leanne goes, "Trish, you need to get" I'll never forget this as long as I live.
That
It
was
was
the
in the
thing.
case. And Leanne goes, "Trish, you need to get over here. Because I like a large face gold watch." And she goes, "And it's got a turquoise face. It's got turquoise face." And she's saying it quiet so nobody else can hear. And she's in my ear. And Karen and I are infamous for filling carts full of things that we think if we were on driving and we're driving back to Chattanooga and Knoxville, we go, "You need this for the house." We love a Ralph Lauren throw pillow. We love a Ralph Lauren. So we would have this cart full like we were on supermarket sweep. And Leanne comes up behind me and goes, "Trish, there is a gold, don't, there is a gold Michael Kors watch in that case. And this lady's looking at it. You just need to go over and say, you need it. It'll look darling on you. Go right now." I have had that watch for over a decade because y'all, it is darling. And Liam was
It
not
is
It
wrong.
is.
If Rolex made one, I promise you right now, I'd get it and I'd keep it forever and bequeath it down my family line because I don't know that anybody's going to be tickled over my Michael Kors, but I am because Leanne got me this watch for, I think I got it for a steal. It was like 50% off, but I love
Oh,
that
I've
darn
got the
watch.
big orange one. I've got the big orange face for the University of
Yeah.
Tennessee.
And Leanne goes, "I'm getting the orange one, Vols, go Vols." And you got the orange face, and I got the turquoise. And to this day, I think about us stalking that in a TJ Maxx. And then we get in the line on the checkout, and then we do the come to Jesus in the checkout with the cart of what we did and didn't need amongst us. And I'm telling you, people must have thought we were unwell because we would sit and bargain with each other about what
Well,
we
I
thought.
bought enough. I bought Himalayan salt. I bought crazy.
Himalayan salt
And
and those
I
chocolate
still
covered
buy that
marshmallows.
crazy mess. Do what?
There were chocolate covered marshmallows and some kind of popcorn that if it was at the checkout, you'd go, "Oh, Trish," because I love a chocolate covered marshmallow.
They do. They have good snacks.
Yeah,
And
they
I,
do.
you always need like a little dish for Easter that's got a bunny on it or something. Now that I have grandbabies, I'm all about, getting nifty things, a theme. Now I'm into a theme for my babies, and so I buy so much stuff, and usually though, I'm still very tight and cheap and weird, and I get real
Frugal.
weird
I say
about money.
frugal. You've always been frugal.
Well, Chuck has told
She's
me all my
still.
life, "You're about to lose everything, Leanne. This is it. We're going to lose everything," and just as a scare tactic. But I don't know anything about the money, so I believe him.
One of the funniest things Leanne's ever, I mean, it kills me when she said, "Lord, she said, if I let a head of cabbage rot, he acts like we're going to lose the house."
He goes, "What's all this cabbage in here?" And I'm bad about going to the grocery store. I am country and I like to feed and people. And now I don't even know how to cook anymore. I'm gone all the time. But I do. I buy a lot of groceries and they go bad and I feel bad. But
That's
Me
I'll be
too.
home this summer and I'll be able to cook and do. I'm taking
I
off a couple of months, which I say
good.
that I really
You're
won't
not
be.
going to. Yeah,
No.
you
I've
won't.
got to I've got to record my audiobook. I've got to rev up for that book tour, that
That's
book
going to be
press.
exciting. Will you come back on when the book's out? Because we will read it. We will read it,
Yes,
Well,
and
yes.
but
I do too.
it's in pre-order
Top
now.
100.
Oh
Yeah, it's
yes,
in
it's in.
Yeah.
pre-order now, and you can get a signed copy on Barnes and Noble and Books A Million. And it made the top 100 Amazon yesterday. Or the day before, I can't remember, and that's a big deal. And but it'll fluctuate. It'll fluctuate. Like sometimes it's like 15,497, and then it'll go to 2,000, and then but it got in the top 100. So I'm hoping that we can keep that momentum and maybe have a
Yes, you will.
bestseller. I hope.
You will.
But
Well,
it's a lot of work.
and
It was a lot of work, let me tell you, and I'm
and
proud of it, but it was a lot.
Well,
well,
it's a
and
lot. You have
but
a big
that's
story to tell.
Do what, little K?
well. No, I was just going to say, and that's the hard copy doing that. The second she records the audio book, it's lights
Oh,
out. I mean,
lights out. I
everybody's
agree.
going to want to hear her read it, hear her
100%.
tell her stories.
And if I
That's why
may
we'll.
suggest, buy the book, and then get the audio book, so it's like picture page, and you can follow along and have Leanne read it to you. Well, how about that with a cup of tea at night? I'd be snort laughing. That's how you do it right there. Get both because it's a picture page.
Yeah, you need both because there's a lot of pictures and things included in the hardcover that you want to be able to see. But somebody asked me recently, said, "Does Leanne still go out after the show and to the merch table?" And I said, "Leanne can't get in her hotel room. I mean, she's got to be snuck in. I mean, she gets mobbed now, and
She's
when we
rock
do try
star.
to
Yeah.
go." And we try to go somewhere to a restaurant or to a TJ Maxx or something like that. Me and Tess both will be like, "Shut up! Don't talk! Don't talk!" Because the
Please,
second you hear her voice, it's like everybody's antenna goes up. That's Leanne Morgan.
Well, and I don't want. That's the one thing I know that's a double-edged sword. But all this has been so wonderful. But I want to be able to still go to Costco. I love Costco, and I love TJ Maxx, and I love. I'm a mama. I'm a grandmama. This was normal for me for 56 years, and then all of a sudden now it may be hard for me, especially when the movie comes out and then the sitcom, and that'll be out in 2025, and so I don't
hey,
know what
here's the
tomorrow
good
then.
news. I still see Dave Grohl at my Costco here in LA. Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl at the Costco. And he will stop and hug a baby and pick up a ham. And I'm like, that's how you do. And he'll go, "Hey, how are you?" People love on him, and he is as sweet. And I'm like, you were in Nirvana, you're freaking in the Foo Fighters, you're Dave Grohl, and gets in his minivan. Gets in his minivan. I'm not being funny, with a load of Costco groceries. And I'm like, you know what? That's you, Leanne. It's no different. It's just, yes, it makes it a little longer trip to Costco, but you're no different. You're the exact same way. I mean, that's
But
who
let
you
me
are.
qualify. Let me qualify what I said. That she loves talking to people still, and is so appreciative of all these fans and what's going on. You just have to understand, if you've traveled for days, got no sleep, done a show, and you're trying to get back to your hotel room, or if we have to hurry to lunch and then get to sound check, there's not always time to
Time.
take.
Yeah.
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 So it's a time issue, not like now she doesn't want to talk to anybody.
Oh,
That's not the
no.
case. Oh no. She loves on everybody still.
Yes, that's who you are. I just told Karen I was going through stuff the other day because I was clean. I'm the worst. I don't clean up a computer or phone, and then I think, oh, it's broken. No, it's just too much on it. My husband's like, "Could you put it on a backup?" I'm like, "No, it broke." He goes, "No, there are 33,000 images and videos. Back it up." I'm like, "Oh," and I found this video of Lynn and I, and we're in somewhere in Kentucky, I think a theater or something, and we both have our hair off because when you're on the road a lot, you have to put in filler hair, just so you don't sweat it out on stage or burn all your hair off. And you and I are both holding our halo hair pieces. You've got a bottle of wine, and you go, "We've got to get backstage." And I go, "Why? What's back there?" And you go, "2 crock pots, chicken and dumplings. We've got to eat all that. They made us 2 crock pots." And I was like, and that is Leanne Morgan.
Send me that video. I need content.
Oh, I'll send it,
Trish,
girl. We've
send
got
me
one.
all the content you've got.
We've got so much. My favorite is us eating popsicles in a car in Alabama, and you go, "I don't know what this is made of." Okay, and we're all eating popsicles, and you go, "I don't even know, what is this, a rhubarb?" And we're all going through the taste tests of random popsicles. I've got us. This is another Chuck Morgan frugal. Every single green room we've ever been in, Leanne will look at us and go, "Y'all, we've got to get this cheese plate and this fruit plate. We've got to take it back. These people spent this money. Now it's our rider. It's our money." But Leanne's like,
Karen,
we
I
still
still
do.
try to take everything in my purse.
Yeah. And we
Yes,
would
it's still.
sack it up and take it out, and we'd all be eating. And we did this little show. And I know you remember, I found that picture too. In, oh God, it's South Carolina. Is that polo town? They play polo. Aiken. Is that right? Aiken, South
Aiken,
Carolina.
South Carolina.
And we played this show. It was the strangest event, but the sweetest humans. Like, meaning like location, not strange because the people are strange. Just a weird location. And this town's darling. It looks like Truman Show, like a Hallmark movie.
That was a
And
beautiful town.
wasn't it beautiful? It was just gorgeous. And Lynn was so sweet because they had asked us what we can eat, and Liam was sweet enough, because I'm allergic to dairy, to tell them I can't eat. Trish just doesn't eat dairy. So some little sweet woman in this town makes us a gluten-free, dairy-free cake that was to die for. It was like
To die for. I still think about that cake.
Me too. It was like the
We ate it
chantilly
on the
berry
floor.
cake. Yes, and we sat on the porch because they were done. We're done with the show, and it was heavy as all get out. I don't know what they put in it to make it gluten free and dairy free, and it tasted like angel wings and unicorn, magic. It was amazing. We got sick eating it because Leanne goes, "We have to eat this whole thing, Trish. We can't leave." And we were sick from eating a whole cake. But when I tell you that is exactly who you are and always will be and have been, was like, these sweet people have done this. We're gonna get ill eating the cake, and this is, and I'm gonna tell y'all this too. One of my favorite words, and I don't know if you say it on stage now or not, because we've all joked for years. If one of us stroked out, any of the three of us could get up and finish each other's act because we'd just been together long enough that you're like, how's this act? How do I end it? That's when you know you've loved somebody and you've done hard time. You have to remind each other of what to do. But right before I go on stage, I've always gotten an upset stomach. It might be my stage fright, but we would all talk about, like, I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. And Leanne goes, I'm so tore up. I'm going Jick and Birdie. And first time she ever said that to me, I said, what did you say? Because I go, I'll be right back. She goes, oh, Lord. Karen goes, where's Trish going? I just flew out the door and I heard Leanne go, she's going to go Jick and Birdie. And I thought, what in God's name? And I come back from the bathroom and I said to Leanne, I go, Leanne, what did you say? And you said, oh, honey, when your stomach gets all tore up, Lucille says, you've got a Jick and Birdie. And please tell
You
everybody what that,
Birdie. Mm-hmm.
to this
It
day,
also
that is.
means you could have a night terror and tear the curtains down off the rods.
So it's either a bad tummy, it's a bad belly. So you've immediately got to leave the situation, or now I know a night terror where you've lost your mind and ripped the drapes off the walls. But to this day, Jace Fincher and I, this is a rock and roller I'm married to. And pre-show, he'll look at me and he goes, I have to go Jick and Birdie. Go, it's fine. Go. I know. He looks at me with a glass eye and says it, and it is our Leanne go-to when something is afoot. Oh my Lord, I've got a bad
That's
belly.
sweet that y'all have that intimacy. Because if I said to Chuck Morgan, I'm going to have a Jick and Birdie, he would go, I don't want to hear that about you. But I have done that in a bit, and I keep forgetting about it. But I do that. I do a bit about a Jick and Birdie when I was dating Chuck, when I'm in Paducah or Owensboro, Kentucky. Remind me, Karen, I do that bit about how in love he was with me, and I'd eaten fresh corn on the buffet. I don't want to give it all away. But Jick and Birdie is a word that my people say, and I don't. And there's so
I had
many other.
never heard it. I had never heard it.
Me either.
And when I got to the University of Tennessee, I had my own language, and this woman from up the north circled every paper, and I would make terrible grades, and she'd put a red circle around it and said, this is not even in the English language. And I realized that Mama and Daddy from our people, from farming people that were Welsh, I think, this is what I think happened. All right, then came over farming people mixed with African American people in the fields, work together in the fields. That I have got this. My people have this whole language that is
Unique.
unique. And it's unique. And I'll go to different. I've been to field trips with my kids in Texas. I've gone to field trips in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'll hear these words and I'll think you never hear them anywhere else, but it's just this weird. And I would say. I thought Mama was saying Irish potatoes. Instead of Irish, she'd say ice potatoes. I'm going to boil some ice potatoes. I said it in an English paper at UT, and that woman goes, what are you talking about? and then I realized, Mama goes, oh, Irish. I go, why didn't you say that, Lucille? She goes, well, yeah. But it all worked out for the best. And now I've got a book. Lord, of course, somebody else has, done the grammar, but thank the Lord. But
Well, thank God you're the one.
I did have a professor say to me at UT years ago, after I dropped out and gone back, and my self-esteem was so low, and I had been beat down from a relationship, and it was a bad time in my life, and I went back to finish school, and I had to take English over, and he said, I think you could be a writer. He said, the way you describe things, and he knew I didn't have the education to, I wasn't good at grammar, and, I went to a very country high school that was very sweet, but it was not a college prep kind of school. But he said to me, you could be a writer. And it always stuck with
Because you
me,
could tell a story.
Because I was
Mhm.
about to say, because you're an amazing storyteller. And that really, I mean, you can write all day long, but if you can't tell a story, have a good day. You know what I mean? And like
Doesn't matter how good your grammar is if you
that's
can't tell a
right.
story.
That's right.
And I do
That's what
think my
makes amazing
children
work.
got that from me. All of them are
Yes,
very
they did.
observant, and they got the detail. They can tell a story with detail. And Charlie Morgan is a wonderful writer, and his everybody that he's ever had at Barry or at CAK would say you could write, Charlie, because you paint a picture and it's just like you're there. And then my girls, can tell something
Yarns. Yes.
down to a tiny detail that has you there. And Chuck Morgan is like, and Chuck Morgan will go, it was not a Wednesday. It was a Tuesday, Lynn, and it was at 3 o'clock. It was not at 2 o'clock. And I go, that does not matter. Chuck,
That's
you're
not the
ruining
important part
my
of the story.
yarn. You're ruining my yarn. Nobody cares about that detail. He goes, details matter. I go, not those details. He does.
Okay.
It gets down to that's why I don't want him to come to shows, even though he sneaks in now and doesn't tell me. But I don't want him to come because he'll yell out in front of everybody during a Netflix special.
Not
Leanne,
right.
it was Kentucky. It wasn't Tennessee. It was in the in April. I'm like, ah. But anyway, I put down Chuck Morgan, but God love him for putting up with me. Somebody asked me yesterday. They go, "What did he ever think about you starting this?" And I said, I think he thought I was kooky. I think he thought, "Oh, I got a kooky wife, and I'll let her do this kooky thing."
Get it
But
out of
as
her
time
system.
went on, I mean, he's always supported me and always said, "Go do," and I've got the kids and go do. He always has, and so and now it's unbelievable what my family gets to experience. Chuck Lorre came to my house. Chuck Lorre flew on a private plane from Warner Brothers and came to my house, ate lunch with us, and held my babies. And Chuck Morgan is a huge Big Bang Theory fan, and 2.5 Men, and all that. And Chuck Morgan was going the whole time. And Chuck Lorre loved Chuck Morgan and loved Chuck Morgan's character and all of that. And it's not based on my real life. It's based on my comedy, but not my real life. But they really got along well, and so that's been unbelievable, for Chuck to experience these things too, and all my kids. Tess is with me all the time. She gets to do a lot, meet a lot of people. She was on the movie set, and so she got close to Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell, and she was in a meeting with me with Will Ferrell a month ago, and we laughed until we were weak. I mean, everything he says is crazy and darling, and we just goose each other. And Tess was right in there with me with all that, and all the people on the movie set. She got close to Rory Scovel, Meredith Hagner, all these people, and so it's been fun. It's been, and then I call Karen every day and go, "It's about to end. I don't know. Who am I? I'm fat. My breast. What am I gonna do?" And she has to hold me up, hold me up. I call and go,
Well,
I'm gonna run this company and I'm sick of these people and everybody's stupid. I put all that on her. I put all that on little Kay. Like she doesn't have enough on her.
well, and you're getting a lot more assertive at running your company, and that, I think you finally realized I'm the person that's got to make these decisions and make this train go. And so, the good for you. I'm proud of you for doing that.
I was going to
And
ask Liam,
let
what
me
do you think? Oh, go ahead, Kay. Sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask her, Liam, what do you think for you has been the biggest change? Because I know you're exactly who you are, you always have been, but for you, the biggest change you had to make in you, realizing the shift. Does that make sense?
For the fame or for the business or?
For the business, because I know, you don't know this about Leanne. She didn't even like to drive herself, which I don't blame you. When we be on the road, Leanne's like, I can't, there's not one more thing I
I
can deal
don't
with.
like to drive.
She don't like to drive. And I'm like, okay, cool. I love to drive. So Leanne's the perfect person to be in the car with because I love to drive. So I was like, yes. So obviously that is a tiny, tiny thing, but meaning you are the brand, you are the whole ship. So for
It has made
you,
me realize, it made me, I realized I'm the one that built this thing.
yeah,
It took me, I'm trying, I feel like I want to be humble. And that's been a thing to have to deal with, like, because Brian Dorfman, Mike Smartek, all these people in my life, Nick News 40, all my wonderful team that I've got, they're like, Leanne, it's okay to be humble, but there's a reason you're here. You've got this talent. You've worked like a mule. This
that's
has been
right.
25 years in the making. Um,
You've earned it.
you don't have to sit and dumb everything down. But it's hard for me. But it made me realize. I thought I am the one that I did this. I made this. I had people help me along the way, but it was up to me to build this. And I know my audience. I know what's right for me. If I had told a joke that somebody wanted me to tell and I didn't feel good about it and it wasn't my personality, and I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, I've got grandbabies, children, I don't want to say anything that I would not say in front of my children.
That's right.
I realize now it's up to me, and I've got to be who this is it, and I'm running this ship. And then I realized working with Reese Witherspoon was a big thing for me because I sat and watched her every day. I play her big sister Gwyneth, so I was with her all the time. And I watched that little thing. Her mind is working all the time. And how she does business and conducts herself, I realize, I'm just wasting time and wasting other people's time if I'm not direct and if I don't say what I need and what I need from people. I'm paying everybody. It's
That's
me.
right.
I'm paying everybody. I've got to tell people what I need from them. And it's not anything, I think being raised maybe in the South, maybe at my age, being a woman, it was very hard for me to speak up and say what I felt and what I think needed to be done. But then I'm getting over that. I realize I know what I'm doing. I make mistakes, but for the most part, I know what I'm doing.
That's
I
right.
know what feels right to me. I've always listened to my gut. And I've got a good intuition, and I'm able to now to say that's not good. I don't like that. We're not doing that, and people listen to me. But I know it's been hard for me to realize that everything changes, and I have to constantly move with what's going on. So this team that I had at this time may not be who I need now, like PR people or social media people or whatever. I'm always having to shift and figure out, okay, that was good for this time in my career. It's not good now. I have other needs now. And used to, me and Karen both would have gone, I don't want to do, man, and make anybody mad. But
Y'all would let me do that. Y'all go say something. And I'd be like, okay.
yeah, and you got to it's really just wasting people's time, and it's business. It's not anything against
Yeah.
anybody. It doesn't mean you're being
No.
mean to somebody.
And
It
there's a
means
season.
you got to
There's a
take care of business.
season. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
And
and
it
it's
is
just
about
helpful
being
for
Southern
everybody.
too. I think it is being Southern to a degree. We're raised culturally to, if something's exploding behind us, to go, no, everything's fine. And also to play nice and not make waves. And I hopefully the younger generations are not being raised that same way. But I think we all were raised with this, like, don't rock the boat. Keep it all sweet. And so it
Yeah.
isn't rocking the boat being speaking up for yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
that
just
makes it
taking care
harder
of
to.
things that need to be taken care of. It doesn't mean you're being mean to somebody. And I had to learn that. I had to learn. And I do ask Chuck a lot. He's, hired, and now I've got a bunch of people that, work for me, and I don't know how to manage people. And I've had to learn all about that. I'm still learning about that. And Chuck is a wonderful resource. He's hired thousands of people over 30 years with his company, and he knows how to talk to people. And in that part, like, he manages, I have accountants and all that, but he takes care of things on that end with them, and I could not do it, and I don't want to do it, and I'm so thankful he's doing that. But he also helps me how to navigate employees and all that, and that's been a wonderful thing.
And what a
I'm
blessing that
sure
y'all are
my
that
kids,
partnership.
yeah, and I'm sure my kids sometimes are like, "Oh, mom, you have become, you're a little, if I don't think somebody's doing something right, I'm complain, but at home, and they're like, "What happened to you?" But I have to do it. I have to do it. It's just something that has to be done. But I'm learning all the time, and things are so wonderful. And I'm trying to also be present in it and not worry about little Josh Wolf. That is a mutual
Josh.
friend of all of ours. That doll called me a couple of years ago, and said, "Leanne, when I was on Chelsea, like I was so worried about it ending." And he goes, "Don't live in that. Enjoy it. Don't sit and worry about what's coming down the road." And that really helped me. And I do think, because I'm 58 years old, I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay when things slow down. I'm gonna kiss grandbabies in the mouth, and I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine. I say that. Karen, write that down somewhere, because I'll probably call you and go, "What the?" But anyway, but I'm trying to be present in it and enjoy it, and know that this is, a gift from God, and use this to the glory of God, and not take myself so seriously. And I mean, it's all fun, and hopefully I'm giving people a little joy along the way of, everybody's going through crap, and everybody's got terrible things happening in their life. And if we can give them a little bit of joy as comedians, that is a gift. And so I'm trying to be more present and not worry about a bunch of stuff I can't do anything about anyway.
Can't control. No
Can't
point in.
control it. That's right.
No, can't. You can't. Um, also, want to just take a second to talk about how this movie came about. I mean, it's like you got your tour, everything's going great, you're selling out theaters, and then just out of the blue, again, what in the world
What in the
happened? You
world?
tell the story.
Yeah.
Well, little Hugh Hauser, that we all know, who's an
We
event
love you.
planner, and is trying really to do comedy more. Trish, he's in
I
Nashville
saw
and trying to
that.
get on stage and do. He invited me to. That Def Leppard had come out, and Ronnie Brooks and Dunn, his wife, going through menopause, found that video, started becoming a fan of mine, and I was so worried that Ronnie Brooks was going to be mad at me because his legs are little, and I talk about how rock stars have little legs. But anyway, um, Hugh said she wants you to come to this after party for the CMAs. Now, I was not invited to the CMAs. Nobody knew who I was. I went and stayed in like a Hilton Garden Inn, took a nap, and then went to this party with Hugh at the Brooks and Dunn at Ronnie Brooks' house that he gave this party with Reba McEntire. And I was so starstruck, and I really wasn't supposed to be there. And my feet were killing me, and I just acted like I was somebody. And little Reese Witherspoon was there, and she came up to me, and somebody introduced me to her, and I just went. Mama had just had a stroke at Vanderbilt, and it was a terrible time for all that. And I said, "My mom's had a stroke, and she's at Vanderbilt." And Reese Witherspoon looked at me and held on to me and went, "What?" And wanted to, and really looked at me. And I could tell, I mean, wanted to know what was happening. And we just stood there and talked for a long time. And then, I go on and we watch people jam, and, I see people smoking marijuana. Casey Musgraves is jumping on the couches. I'm sitting there watching. Reba McEntire gets up and sings, and I got to meet her, and she goes, "Who are you?" And I said, "I don't even know who I am." And her fanny was the size of two walnuts. And I was so intimidated and freaked out. I mean, y'all wouldn't believe who was there and who was jamming until 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't even, I mean, you could list them. Unbelievable. So anyway, I go to that, and I had a ball, and it was wonderful. But I was probably doing comedy clubs, not many. I was starting to sell out. Okay, so then all this happens to me, and I'm in Bethlehem or Pennsylvania doing and I guess you were with me, Karen, in a casino.
Yes,
Janet
I was.
Jackson had just been there, and I got a call, and they go, "We're going to reroute you, Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell wants you to do a table read." And I went, "What's a table read?" I had no idea what in the world they were talking about. And I had diarrhea, chicken birdie, and they put me on a plane. I go to Los Angeles. I cannot even. I had to call my good friend David Alford, that's an actor that went to Juilliard, and I called him from the hotel room, and I go, "What is a table read?" And he goes, "You're going to get in front of a bunch of people. There's going to be producers and casting and all these people, and you're going to read through the script, and they're going to highlight your part." And I was like, so I go, and it was unbelievable, and I was scared to death, and I read through that part, and I could tell I got some big laughs in the room. There were some things I didn't hit like I should have. I mean, like I didn't know what I was doing. And and let me say that during the pandemic, Reese, after we had met, she started following me and started messaging me and would say, "I love pink Jello fluff." And she would, my social media people were doing these little contests or these little games, and she'd play them. And she would, "What's your favorite candy bar at Halloween?" And Reese would put, and people go, "Reese Witherspoon's commenting on your," but she would message me and say, we would just talk back and forth, not all the time, but she was just precious. And I know that little thing wanted to lift me up. I know that little thing wanted to help me. And so I went and read for that part. But anyway, and then I was in Evansville, Indiana. This is comedy. This is how comedy goes. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When one minute you're on top of the world, the next minute you're doing the worst nightmare of a thing, and you're okay. So then I come from LA. I was in a table reading with Nick Stoller, the director, all these Amazon Prime casting, all these movie
Oh,
stars.
wait.
I've seen all your life on this table read.
You froze, Leanne. Hold on. You're in Evansville, Indiana. Say it one more time.
Well, when I was before that, here I am, with all these nifty people and doing all this. Then I go to Evansville, Indiana on the tour, and there's one Uber, and it is a little mama who's got a dirty diaper in the back of the car. I get in the car and put my
No.
foot in a dirty diaper,
No.
and she's like, "I hate this town," and I was like. And Nick Barnes calls me, my agent in Nashville, and said, "Leanne, you have gotten that part." And I was in this nasty little
You've got baby poop
car.
on your shoe.
I'm in like Burger King sacks in the bag, and I'm doing with Evansville, Indiana, and it's a wonderful show. I've done it in both tours, but anyway, I'm like, what in the world? And then, but they have to move my tour so I can go and film, and we filmed it in Atlanta, and I play Reese Witherspoon's big sister, and and then Will Ferrell. His blue eyes, and he looks at me, and I am a huge Will Ferrell fan.
Yes.
And I had one line with him, one scene with him. We're all standing around, and my only thing I'm supposed to say is so. And you talking about Jick and Birdie? I was standing there, and I was about to go action, and I thought, what is that word? What word am I? And then I'm like, grab something and go, "Oh, so." I was so intimidated and freaked out, but they were all it was such a wonderful set, and everybody kept saying to me, "You'll never have this again." It comes from the top down, and the Gloria Sanchez and Hello Sunshine and Nick Stoller's company, all executive producers, and they were all so sweet and kind that came down, set the tone, and they said, "Oh, it's usually a nightmare, but you were in a wonderful set where everybody wanted to see me win. They did, and they were just precious to me, and I was scared to death, and anyway, we did it. Tess went down there with me, and this character is a small character in it, but they kept, feeding me stuff, and they go, "Leanne, talk about your breast after you had your children," and then so we riffed a lot, and a
That's
lot of that
awesome.
in the movie, and so I think it started out a small character, but it made it a little bit bigger, and I'm not one of the main people, but I'm proud of it. I think I got to see it.
Did you get the bug? Do you want to do more? Are you doing? Well,
Did
you're
one
doing your
day.
sitcom.
When I was down there, I wanted to do more. I would like to do more movies, and I would love to those kind of movies. I like, romantic comedy kind of. I loved it. I loved it. After when it was over, I thought, now I know kind of what happens. I wish I could do it again. I wish I could do it over again. But yeah, I'll do the TV series this fall with Chuck Lorre, and I'm scared to death about that. That's a live. That'll be in front of a live audience, and um,
Why
I
are
don't
you
know what.
scared? You're in front of live audiences almost week daily. What
I
is
know, but I
scary
hope
about
I
that?
can remember a line. That's what I'm
Oh,
worried about. I'm crazy. And I can't even remember my own act. I hope I can remember lines. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about how my butt's gonna look.
it's going
Because
to look
when I try
amazing.
to hide it is a sight. But and I'm worried about being away from my family, but Tess is gonna be with me, and I'll come home when I can. And I did it for the movie. Maggie said, Mom, you did it for the movie. We got through it. It'll be all right.
That's right.
We'll come out home. But that was my dream from the beginning, to have a sitcom. And I think growing up in comedy, watching TV and Ray Romano and Roseanne and everybody, that was my dream. And it's still my dream. But I do think I want to do movies. And when I was little, and it's in the book, when I 8, 9 years old, I would say to my mom, I'm going to be a movie star. And it's just so funny to me now, because then that dream died. I thought over the years, because Comedy Central didn't want me. I got so many no's through the years, and I
Yeah.
would audition for festivals, and they didn't want me. And I look back on it, and I had on a kitten heel and a capri pant with birds on them, and an unfortunate bob. And I didn't belong on Comedy Central. But anyway, I just what was I saying? I
That
just
that
lost.
So you're
your
going to be
dream
a
was to be
movie
a movie
star.
star.
Oh,
That your
and then
mother would
this
say that.
come up, and I get to be in a movie. It's
But
just
seeing
crazy.
that I think all the time, because I used to walk around, I was obsessed with Carol Burnett, and I walked around saying, I'm gonna have my own show and win an Emmy, because I saw her on the Emmys when that was kind of my first real memory of seeing her glamorous, because if not, she was always in a sketch, Carol. And I'd say, I said, what is that? And my grandmother said, oh, she's winning an Emmy, because my grandmother loved an award show, honey. She'd make a deviled egg and put out a planner for an award show like we were at a party. But I would say, I'm going to have my own show and win an Emmy. And so I didn't really understand what I was always speaking into existence, but it was always, I'm going to have my own show and I'm going to win an Emmy. And I think that's exactly, you have spoken into existence since you were a baby, because you were just like, that's what I want. And I feel like when there's nobody telling you no or telling you otherwise, you receive it way down, and that's who you've always
I
been.
did think I talked it into I always thought it, and then I went through many a time where I would think, and recently, like before all this blew up, where I'd think, am I like one of those kids on American Idol that thinks they can sing? Like I don't, like I may not have it. If I've been talking out of my head all these years, but like my friends from high school, they tell me now, they go, Leanne, you always said it. You always talked about it. And one of Beth's good friends, Margot, came to my show in Palm Springs, and she said, Lynn, I'll never forget it. Beth, they were moving into Austin Peay their freshman year into a dorm. And she said, you had a basketball, and you had a basketball uniform on, and you were playing with that ball and bouncing it, and your parents were moving Beth into the dorm room. And you said, Margot said, hi, I'm Margot. And I said, hey, I'm Leanne. I'm going to be a movie star. I said that bouncing a basketball, which is crazy.
Ah, but no, it's not. That's exactly who you
What?
are. But that's what makes it so amazing. Like when you really realize that there was never another agenda, just God took a route that was not, golden ticket to Hollywood. It happened on exactly the right terms.
And I do think, yes, and I do think that this is happening for me because I got to stay in Knoxville when those deals didn't make it. I got to stay in Knoxville, Tennessee, as much as I was devastated. I got to stay and raise my own children and have a normal life that has given me this material that people connect to, because I really have raised children. I really have cleaned the house. I really have done all these things
That's
and
right.
shopped for groceries, and I've gone to Weight Watchers a million times and failed. I've done all these things I talk about, and I think that if God had put me in LA, my children wouldn't be who they were supposed to be. I think I could not have become I could not have stayed authentic to me. I think with my personality, I think I would have tried to mold into something because I was insecure. I think that young, I think I would have not become the person I'm supposed to be. And it was all in God's plan. It really was, and it has been a perfect plan. But when you're in it, you think,
Oh,
this doesn't seem right. But
Yeah.
then it is. It's a perfect plan.
got to have
How
these
things happen.
When you talk about, Lucille used to tell you you're going to be a star, and you said it, and she instilled that from a very, very young age that you were a star. And it reminds me of what I saw Miley Cyrus talking about, but the difference with her and her dad. She said, I
mm,
was told from the time I was born I was a star. And so when all this happened for me, I just stepped into the light, to the star I'd already been told I was. Where for my dad, he was always trying to heal something from his past. So we had very different experiences with stardom. His was all about trying to become somebody and prove something, and where she just stepped into the light. And that's what it reminds me of in your situation. You were always told you were a star, and you just stepped into it, because I've said many times Leanne was a star before she was a star.
100%.
Oh, thank you, Kay. Oh, Lord, thank you. I don't know. I thought I would be younger and thinner when this happened, but that's okay. That's okay.
I mean, my story backs it up because I'm not going to. I'll tell y'all, when I met Leanne, there's I've never seen anyone fitter in comedy, even Carrot Top, who looks like he's owned something. Lord God, he's got arms. Leanne Morgan was the terminator of female comedians, and I thought I have got to get on a treadmill because I
Lord,
came around the
Trish,
corner.
I guess that I had gone on paleo and had done that CrossFit, and I think I shot my thyroid and my adrenals, and I did not feel good after that, and then let all
You
that
could
go.
flip a
That
tire.
inspires
You
me,
could
though.
flip a
I need to get
tire.
my arms back. I need to get my arms because
Best
I
arms in comedy.
yeah, that I need. And I'm trying to prioritize my protein. Oh,
Through all this journey for the last 20 years, and 20 plus for you, I've known you for 20, but you started what, 5 years before that, maybe? Or was it longer than that? How long
yeah,
have you been in? 25 years?
probably not with the
Yeah.
jewelry. Jewelry probably
Yeah.
been long, before that, but saying I'm a comedian about 5 years probably.
Yeah. So 25 years. What do you feel that, what you know so far?
Um, let me think, little K. I think without being sappy, I think putting your trust in faith in God for Him to guide you. I mean, I'm a believer, so that everything in my life revolves around that. I have that worldview, so I believe in prayer and listening to God, and it's hard, and I have not always gotten it right, but I believe in prayer and asking God's guidance, and then I believe in being authentic. I think I tell little kids that they would get me to speak at the University of Tennessee, and I think I kind of had a chip on my shoulder at first when I went to UT in 1983 because God put me with a bunch of girls that were private school girls, and they were from money, and they kind of made fun of me and made fun of my voice and or my accent, and I didn't have the cars they had and the clothes and all that, and um, but somehow through all of it, and I had a first marriage that was a nightmare, and God rest his soul, but it was, he had beat me down and told me I couldn't, and nobody wanted to hear me talk. I needed diction lessons and all that. Somehow through, I don't know, something in me thought, you're wrong. You're wrong. And all you girls are wrong. And, whatever. I don't care. I was always proud that I was from farming people. I think farmers are some of the strongest people in the United States of America. I've always been proud of that. I've been proud of being from the South. I'm proud of being rural. I think rural people, Lord, if something goes down, y'all better get to a rural town, is what I'm saying. But I do
100%.
think somehow through all these things that happened to me, I was able to somehow stayed true to who I was, and I thought they're wrong, and I've got to be who I've got to be. And I tell these little kids at the University of Tennessee, because a lot of those kids come from rural towns, and I tell them, don't be ashamed of where you're from. You need to be proud of who you are. Don't change who you are when you're in business or whatever you're in. People want to know that's really who you are, and they will trust you, and things work out the way they're supposed to work out. And be kind to people, and things, people want to help you succeed, get people to invest in you, and ask their opinion, ask their advice. And but that would be the main thing, is just stay authentic and true to who you are, and trusting God, because it all works out. And I'm not saying that there's not been terrible ups and downs and all of that, but he's never left me. I left him. Jesus, he never left me. And it makes me want to cry, but I just have felt his presence through all of this. And I know that, and I got to have these precious children, and I got these 2 grandbabies, and I'm very lucky. I do think I have talent, but I know that there's so many people out there that are so talented and we'll never know who they are. I think this was luck. I feel like when Matt Williams said to me, that created Roseanne and Home Improvement, he said, Leanne, I feel like I'm at the carnival, and there's the ducks in the water, and God took me out of that water, picked me as that little duck, and said, this, you get to do it. I feel like that's happened to me, but I think being authentic and who I'm supposed to be has helped me get where I am today.
Yes.
Is that, if I said a bunch of gobbledygook?
No, not at all. Absolutely. And I have one thing to add to that. One thing that I know so far that I have learned from your experience is that you have to invest in yourself.